That's
Okay, Ron. All right, thanks so much. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
I'm going to squint. I'm sorry, but the sun's right in my face. That's the way it was yesterday when I interviewed with you, Jenny. My face is all wrinkled up.
It's the sun.
All right, well, let's get started. When you're ready, then I'll start reading my statement.
Y'all good?
Everybody
All
good?
Yep.
All right. Good morning, and thank you for being here. I'd like to take a moment to read a press release that I'll then send to you electronically. My goal is to clear up questions and anything that might be arising based upon things that have been said previously this week. So let me begin. Questions have arisen surrounding my removal of Thomas Vaughn from his position of Chief of Police of Southport. Specifically, the questions challenge the authority of the mayor of a third-class city to remove a police chief. Indiana state law is unambiguous on the authority of the mayor to remove a chief. There are two basic possible systems to provide for the hiring, promotion, and discipline of police officers in cities. In the first of the prescribed systems, the chief of police and any other person holding what is known as an upper-level policy-making position, such as deputy chief, is subject to the appointment and removal by the mayor, while regular officers, including reserve officers, are hired and fired by the city's statutory Board of Public Works and Safety. In a city that has enacted by ordinance a system of governance by a merit commission, the merit commission hires and fires subordinate officers, including reserve officers. If a city wishes to create a merit commission system, state law allows cities to use either the statutory template to structure the system or to create their own merit commission system. Southport has not adopted a merit commission system. The governance of its police department is therefore under the Board of Public Works and Safety. Included with this statement are copies of several statutes that govern these proceedings, and I've sent those all to you. What follows is a discussion of the most relevant statutes, so I'm going to cite those. Indiana Code 36832A and B states that the Safety Board of the city shall administer the police and fire departments of the city, and that the Safety Board has exclusive control over all matters and property relating to the police department. These provisions appear to be the source of the questions because they do give the board broad authority. However, the very next section of state law, Indiana Code 36-8-3-3, Section C, says plainly that the Safety Board shall appoint the members and other employees of the police department other than those in an upper-level policy-making position. Southport has adopted an ordinance that mirrors Indiana Code 36-8-3-3. This ordinance is 3.20.010, which states, Board of Public Works and Safety, the Common Council of the City of Southport hereby establishes the following. The Board of Public Works and Safety as prescribed by IC 36-4-9-5. B. This board shall consist of 5 members, one of which is the city executive, as established under IC 36-4-9-8, Section C. Item C, a member of the board must be a resident of the city under IC 36-4-9-2, Section C. The board shall elect one of its members chairman who holds the position as long as prescribed by the rules of the board. Section E, the board shall meet once a month. F, the city clerk treasurer is the clerk of the board. G, the city executive shall appoint the chief of police department. H, the board has supervision and control of the public safety and public works of the city as prescribed in Indiana Code for third-class cities, Ordinance 14.03.01, 1-8, passed March 17th, 2014. The ordinance, like state law, specifically provides that the mayor appoints the chief and the board simply has no role in appointing a chief. It is silent as to the removal of a chief, and therefore state law must control where removal authority lies. This is the heart of the matter. Looking back to state law, the very next section of Indiana Code 36-8-3-4, Section B, states that except as provided in subsection M of this section, a member of the police department holds an office or grade until the member is dismissed or demoted by the safety board. Subsection M then answers the questions. It says that the executive, the mayor, may reduce in grade any member of the police or fire department who holds an upper-level policy-making position without adhering to the requirements that would apply to the removal of a regular officer. The member may not be reduced in grade to a rank below that which the member held before the member's appointment to the upper-level policy-making position. As with appointment, so with removal. By the plain language of the statute, the board has no role in the removal of a chief. The actions I took here were in full compliance with the law. The authority to remove a chief lies with the mayor, not the board. The mayor cannot, however, remove a chief from the department, but only from the position of chief. Officer Vaughn was a reserve patrol officer at the time of his appointment and has been returned to that rank. So, based upon this information, last week I asked Chief Vaughn for documents related to discipline in the disciplinary process for the police department. And he refused to provide those documents. Those documents that I'm asking for are public documents that any one of you could ask for. And when he refused to provide those documents, I decided to take the police department in a different direction, and I terminated his appointment as police chief based upon that. I have to have a police chief that will be following instructions, and that's not what happened.
What were
I'm open for questions
now. What were
now.
the documents? I mean, was it in relation to discipline of a particular officer?
The documents that I was looking for was actually the ordinance that was passed in March of 2014. That's a public document.
Regarding the control of
Yes, that states the Board of Public Works and Safety has control, which it does, but then I also explained in here what also applies. So that's...
If you could access that like you have here, why ask the police chief for those documents? What was the...
Because he was claiming that there was a merit commission, a merit board, and there is not. And I wanted to make sure of what he was relying on as a document, and that there isn't anything. The only thing that he was relying on was that ordinance that was passed in March of 2014.
What was the crux of the issue before the document? Why were you requesting these documents about a merit commission? Because it sounds like just a, hey, do we have this or
Right.
not?
There's an item we need to do with the Board of Public Works and Safety to pass a resolution. And he wouldn't provide me that information. He relied on this ordinance and saying, this ordinance says the Board of Public Works and Safety is my supervisor, you are not. Other
Mayor,
questions?
we go back to 2014 and talk about what that stated and why you got on board as head of the city council then to pass that ordinance then to protect the chief in these matters.
Okay, I explained to you how that ordinance works and in reference to all the state statutes.
But you did say
So-
it's silent on the removal.
Yes, and then I discussed in here what the method is based upon state statute,
And
okay?
have you gotten legal advice on that?
Yes, absolutely.
That says
So,
state law.
yeah, yes, and I sent you guys all the state law that applies, so you guys have everything that I have, all the documentation. I haven't answered this question. So, in 2014, there was another individual that was the mayor, and I think the intent of that ordinance, in conjunction with every state statute, was designed to, I'm not sure what the right word is, it might be protection for the police chief at the time.
I want to drill down on the I'm still confused, I guess, on what started, like, why were you even requesting these documents from him?
Because I wasn't getting the information that I needed to create an ordinance to have the Board of Public Works pass something.
And what's that ordinance about?
The Board of Public Works and Safety is tasked with approving reserve officers, their hire, and I needed a list of hire dates and names of the officers so that we could go ahead and do that.
Mayor Cooney, just to be clear, that ordinance in 2014, you just said that you wanted to protect the chief at the time, which was Chief Tom Vaughn. Those protections that you were trying to offer in 2014 now don't matter today.
That's not what I said. Don't go there. I didn't say that. When that ordinance was passed, the other state statutes I referenced were also in effect at that time. So it led right into the state statutes, just as it does today.
So again, going back to this list, so you wanted to get a list of all of the reserve officers and their hire dates?
Yes.
And you asked Chief Vaughn for that list for you?
Yes.
And he said no?
He said no.
And why were you asking for that list?
I just mentioned the reason for that was to create a resolution to have the Board of Public Works and Safety approve the hiring of all those officers.
And right now, the chief approves the hiring of those officers?
Yes, but that's not correct.
Chief Vaughn says that he did not say no to your request, but just said that there is a system and a protocol for which even you had to access those documents. Was that something he had communicated to you? And
No.
if so, did he?
No, that was not communicated to me.
So I guess, I want to make sure I understand. The chief right now is approving reserve officers, and you say that is not his right to do so.
That is not correct. The Board of Public Works and Safety should be doing that.
Okay. So all the reserve officers on here have been approved, and they're not through proper channels.
Right, and I want to get this resolution passed by the Board of Public Works so that we can make that correct.
So why do you think he was so resistant to giving you that list?
I don't know. That's why we're here today.
Do you think there's something malicious?
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to speculate.
How would you characterize your relationship with Tom Vaughn? You know, he's been here 11 years, and then maybe most recently has...
Most recently, it's been a strained relationship.
How recently would you say?
Probably the last 30 days.
Were you pleased with the direction that he was leading the department in the last 11 years? Or what other issues had popped up besides this one?
I can't think of any other issues. We've been trying to get him the equipment he needs. He basically rebuilt the department from the ground up.
Chief Vaughn had mentioned that he claimed that you have been overstepping your authority recently when it comes to code enforcement issues, asking officers to issue citations, for example, when they weren't, it didn't rise to the level of a citation, some even involving properties that are near your own personal property. I guess what's your response to him saying that you've overstepped when it comes to code enforcement?
I would say that's incorrect, and then you also stated something about that, or he said that I was having the officers do something else. That's incorrect. It is not true.
Do you feel that he's approved too many reserve officers? He's brought too many on?
No, I'm not. I don't think that.
Why did you want to have the Public Works then become the authority to approve reserve officers instead of the way it is now?
Because that's what state statute says.
So all of this was just you wanted to follow the
We
letter?
need to follow the letter of the law, the letter of the state statute. That's all this is about.
If these reserve officers haven't been approved by the Board of Public Works through the proper channels? Is their employment legitimate?
I think by having them approved through the Board of Public Works and Safety, I'll make it that way. I would like to couch it that way to you.
But as of right now,
I think
they're-
that we need to follow state statute on everything, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
Do you know how many reserve officers that would apply to?
I'm going to say maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, possibly.
And again, to clarify, the way it stands now, the chief is in charge of approving those officers.
Right. Any other questions?
Are you worried that some of your other officers may quit now that they've lost their kind of their leader?
It's possible. They may.
What would you say to them?
I would say that's a shame. We have a bunch of good officers. They do a great job here. Most all of the officers, except for the 3 paid officers, are reserves, and they're doing this as a volunteer, and that's pretty remarkable. And I would tell you probably 99 to 100% of them do not live in Southport, so that's pretty remarkable. We have an excellent police department, and I'm very happy with the job that they do. We do community policing, which is kind of unique, and I think we're in a good spot. I think we just need to get to a little better spot.
And how many reserve officers are there right now?
I think there's around 30.
I asked this yesterday, and I'll ask again. What is your response to some who say this all seems very political and a power grab for someone who's been the head of the police department for a long time and seemingly had a good relationship?
I don't have a different answer for you, Jenny. I told you yesterday, I'm the lowest paid individual at City Hall. I am doing this for public service. This is not a power grab. It's all about following state statute and protecting the citizens with a good police department and also protecting the city. We need to do what's right for the city in regards to everything we do here. State statute governs, our local city ordinances govern. This is not a power grab.
Last question, I'm sorry. Was there another way in your mind to maybe get this resolved with, changing the way that they're approved without going to firing?
Well, when the chief refused to provide the documents, my options were kind of closed. So yeah, I wanted to get their names and hire dates and get them approved so that we're on the right side of the state statute.
Have you since gotten those documents?
No.
Have you made the requests to your interim chief?
Yes, I'll be doing that probably in the next few days. Yes.
But if they're public record, I still don't understand why it was so difficult just to obtain them on your own. Why did you need to go through the chief if they're public record?
The reserve officers' records are not contained in the clerk treasurer's office. They're held in the chief's office.
Is that a systemic misfire then? If these are public records, then maybe they shouldn't be just in the
Perhaps
treasurer
not.
should have it, right?
I'll be looking at what the state statute governs regarding police records. Anything else?
Yeah, if there's one thing you want the public to know, what would that be?
It's kind of what Jenny asked me. This is all about doing the right thing. We have a good police department. I want to make it better. And regardless of anything that happens here, we must follow state statute and Southport city ordinances. And that is paramount to everybody, every elected official in this community. We owe it to our citizens to perform our duties and functions in the proper manner according to state statute.
If the Board of Public Works, which meets tonight, votes to overturn this, A, can they? B, what would your response be?
They can't overturn a state statute, Jenny.
They could try.
Any other questions? Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.